Hi everyone, welcome to this ring tutorial. We're going to make this cute, kind of Egyptian-like ring with the yellow and the black. A little design around the band. Not too hard to make actually. Took about an hour, with the prep and filming and everything. But this is the actual ring we'll be making today. Can't wait to show you guys how to make it. So let's start. For this ring, you're going to need 28 gauge of the gold wire, approximately 3 feet or so. You're going to need 4 pieces of the 20 gauge square wire at 6 inches and 8 pieces of the 28 gauge at a little over 7 inches and 24 gauge half round. And then this little bead is an 8 by 10 millimeter bead. It's a flat back. I've done it with pointed backs, and just round beads will work as well too. You need a ring mandrel, flat nose pliers, cutters, needle nose pliers, and some nylon pliers are great for this project. So let's get started. Okay, so for this ring, we're going to start off by putting a design on the band. So it really doesn't matter what size. I'm doing a size 7 today, but if you're doing something smaller or larger, this should work great with it. And then, once you critique it, you could add an extra few wraps to accommodate the size. But for now, this is a great start. So we're going to start off in the center. We're going to put a cute little pattern in the middle. So we're going to cut off a piece 3 foot long of the 24 half round gauge, and you're going to find center on it. So I'm kind of out of the frame here, but we're just going to go down here and create a little point, so the halfway mark, so about 1.5 feet in on your half round, and you're going to grab your 4 pieces and you're going to find center on these. So it's 6 inches, and again, this is for a size 7 ring. So if you are doing a larger ring, you could cut your wires about ½ inch. Either way, you're just going to start in the middle. So this is a little over 6. We're going to start at right about 3. And you're going to take your half round, start right here. I'm going to wrap around it 3 times, get a nice fix on it. And even though your half round is 3 foot long, at least you're only dealing with 1.5 feet on each side like this. So we're going to get 3 good wraps. Nice and snug. Oops. Like that. And take your nylon pliers and flatten that down. Smash it together. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to stage it to slip the colored wires under it. So I'm just creating like a loop, a soft loop, just to slide the colors under, kind of like that. I'm going to set this down right there and grab your 8 gold wires, 28 gauge, and you got them cut, I think, a little longer than your band, just so they're easy to grab. Make them level at one end, flatten them out, smoothing them out with your fingers the best. Get them nice and flat. Take your time just to get a nice gold ribbon going. Just kind of level them up best you can. And then find about center. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide these through that little loose spot loop. We're just going to lay them on top of those 3. Like that. We're going to go around it twice. Just kind of softly grab it. And then when you got it pinned down and your wires aren't all twisted around, you give it a good double loop on there. Like that. Make sure that they're not crossed over, nice and flat. And you can give it a nice little smash. And we're going to do that on this side. Around twice. Try not to tangle your wires like I just did. Alright, so that'll be the center of your band at the bottom. And then give that a nice little smash, and that's going to help hold your gold ribbon in place. It's got a nice little bend in it to grip it. And then we're going to take the ribbon. Make sure your ribbon's centered too. See, I got a little extra here, a little extra there, but at this point you could still probably slide it down. I should have done that before. And even though it's a little shy on this end, it's still going to work because your design's only going to go maybe an inch or two. So you're going to lift up your ribbon, gold. Make sure it's nice and flat, and just slowly bend it up. Get this out of the way here. So you're going to kind of bend it up, and then we're going to do some wraps behind it. I got my wire twisted here, so just use your nylon pliers to flatten it out. So you got your flat side laying on your 4 band wires. We're going to go behind this 4 times, I believe. So that's 1. And this is where if you're doing a larger ring, you could add a couple extra wraps behind these on either side. That way it pushes your design up closer to the top of your ring. That's 3. And 4. And then you can take your flat nose pliers and push these wraps down. And then lay your ribbon down over the top of them. I'm going to do 2 wraps over the top of that. So just softly go over the top of them, make sure they're not twisted or overlapped, keeping your ribbon flat. Just get a good look at it. It's looking pretty good. Give it a nice little press. And then we're going to want to turn it around and do the other side so that we're working in the same distance on each side. So again, you're going to lift up your ribbon, all the little strands. Nice and flat. We're going to wrap behind this one 4 times. Keep it as close as you can to that previous wrap. Keep them as snug as you can, and untwisted is always ideal. And there's 3. And 4. Nice and snug. Give it a little press. And then we're going to lay the ribbon back down. And try to keep your ribbon centered in the band too. Makes for a better look there. So, getting closer. I'm going to do 2 wraps on this one. Right on the back. Stay. Okay. Nice and snug. A little press. Okay, so we're gonna lift this ribbon up again. Just a nice soft bend. We're gonna do 5 wraps behind this one. Keep it pushed down really close as you can, so the back of the band looks nice and tight. Oops. And there's 4. This one's to curl. Okay. I think that is 5, right? So on this one, gonna make sure your rib is nice and flat, and you're gonna grab just the outer wire here, just the farthest one out on each side. Kind of just push it down and out of the way. And the same on this side, grab that outer one wire, just kind of move it down, and then take these ones and lift them back up. So you just got the 2 gold outer wires. Lay like that. We're going to go over those 4 times. So just position your wires so you got them, so you see where they're laying there. You can move them out so you can make sure they stay on the outer parts there. Go around those 4 times. 2, 3, and 4. Push them down. Move these out to either side. Give them a little tug. Keep them nice and tight. And then a little squeeze. So these are kind of out and down. So then lay your ribbon down, kind of push it so it goes between those 2 wires that you laid down. Kind of just marks it. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the 2 outer wires, try not to cross them over. Make sure you got the outer wire. And then put them between the first wire that you laid down and the band. So they're inside. Kind of hard to see, but they're just laying inside the first 2 you laid down. I'm going to go around those 4 times. Try to see if I can get a better picture. They're so bright. It's hard to capture it. Hard to see. But they're just laying right in between. They're just tapering in as you go. Move these ones out. Once you move these ones out, as long as they're on the inside, so you kind of see that going on. Do 4 wraps. Nice and snug. There's 2. 3. And 4. Still looks good. Nice little tug on each line. Get a nice little, make sure they're nice and lined up, and give it a nice little squeeze. Keep them down there as far as they go. And we're gonna lay the ribbon down again, pushing it between those previous lines. Kind of helps spread those other lines out too, keep them where they should go, so these ones don't lay over the top of them. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to grab the next outer 2 lines, ever so gently, patiently. Takes a little practice, but it's not bad once you get it. Lift those center 2 up, kind of helps too. And then with those previous 2 kind of pulled out of the way, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to lay these 2 down, just close to the band, but down out of the way. If you can quite see that. And we're going to go over that 4 times. So just lay the band over the top just to see that they're where they should be. Which is looking pretty good. Nice and snug. There's 3. Nice little squeeze. And then these last 2, see how that kind of pushes the lines together? You can take your fingernail, kind of move them apart, or if you push these ribbons down, you can just make it go right in between them like that. See if I can get it good. So they're nice and lined up, right to a point. So you move those previous ones out of the way, off to the side. Now these ones are in dead center. And then over the top 4 times. It looks all lined up, so we're just going to go ahead and wrap it. There's 2. And 4. Flat nose. And then even the nylon pliers work great. So you got all your ribbons. You can grab them up here and kind of bring them back together. Make sure you don't, I don't think they'll pull out, but you just want them nice and snug. Slide your wrap down, push it down together. So the back looks pretty tight. So there's one side. It looks pretty clean. I'm going to go to this side and do the exact same thing. Don't cut off these little hairs yet, because when we bend this around the mandrel, it'll pull those wires tight. You don't want them to slip out under there. So we'll cut those in just a little bit. So on this side, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to lift up all the wires and wrap behind it 5 times. And there's 4 and 5. And then you're going to lay your ribbon down, keeping it center. And then over the top twice. It's fun once you get the hang of this, you can put so many different designs, patterns in the weave. It's just if you got the patience to deal with these tiny little wires. But it does make it fun with different colors and stuff. So there's 2. And then a nice little tab, keeping them nice and flat. Alright. Did I just mess that up? Yes, I totally did. So don't do that. Don't do that. Well, we're going to start the point. So that happens. So lift your band back up, and we're going to pick up the outer 2. Move it down off to the side. So I got to talking and wasn't paying attention. Move this one down. But, mistakes happen, and sometimes it's good to film those too, because nothing's perfect. Okay, so you got these 2 laid down again, right along the bar there. And these little bends should fall right there, so it's not like it's gonna. We're gonna do 4 wraps over the tops of these 2 wires. There's 2. There. Keep it snug. And 4. Pull these out. Give them a nice little tug. And a little squeeze. And now you lay the ribbon down. Make sure you're inside those. See these little side wires that you tie down? You want to stay inside those as you work down. So we're going to grab the next 2 outer lines. Keep them this one between the band and that first wire. And same on the other side. Fold up the center ones here. And just staying right inside those first 2 wires. So just put a nice soft wrap over the top to pin them, see where they're going to fall. Just inside those first 2. Looks good, so let's keep it going. There's 2. 4. And a little squeeze. See, yeah, sometimes when you squeeze them, they come together. So you just want to grab these two over here, kind of a little snug pull and move them out of the way a little bit. Keep them lined up nice and snug. Oh, looks like I kind of mangled these. I don't want to do that, so just take your finger and smooth them out. It happens. I think when I snagged my half round on there. But anyways, I kind of know where I'm going with this. So grab the two outer wires again. Move those out of the way. Lay this one down between those first ones. Same on the other side. Grab that outer wire. And down between those first ones. And then one over the top just to make sure they're in the right spot. It's looking good. Funny, they'll cross right there and make you think that they're in the right spot, but make sure there are 3 on this side are in the right ones and the 3 on this side are the right ones. And then give a nice little snug pull again. I'm pulling it snug as I wrap it around too. So 4 times around this one. And a nice little squeeze. I see that the lines have pushed together again too, but once these are lined up, straighten out your wires. I sure do like to twist and just try to slide those down right to the center, like that. I could do a little better on my spacing here. I'm going to try to push that down. And then over the top once to make sure we got it where we want it. So it looks good. So we're going to do 4 over the top. Right. And another nice little squeeze. It's looking good. Okay, so collect all your wires again. Kind of give a nice little snug pull. Try to push these wires together. As we wrap it around the mandrel too, we'll tighten it up a bit. I just like to help it along. But the design looks really good. I don't think I have any crossovers. It's hard to tell sometimes, so small. But that looks pretty good. So when you're happy with that, you're going to grab your mandrel. What I like to do is if I already have a ring that I want the size, like this is the size I want on my finger, I'll put that on there. And then I see, oh, that's without the design in it. So, like if that's where I want it, I'll start measuring my wrap just a little above that, because once you put these wraps through, it makes the ring a little smaller. Kind of takes up the gap. So I'll do about a half size bigger when I go to measure. So let's see, I'm aiming for a 6.5, but I'm gonna wrap around the 7, keeping your pattern center. And nothing too, once you get the kind of the circle you like, put it on the finger that you want to make sure that's the right size. So as you bend these around, it's going to pull those wires nice and tight. I wish I had a rounder mandrel. This one's got the flat sides on it. So you kind of just got a good half circle going here. So you pulled your wires nice and tight. This is when we're going to clean those wires up. So you can straighten these up out of the way. And don't worry about the exact size yet. We're going to dial that in a bit. But you're close. You got a good band size. You could always test the finger you like later. So what we're going to do with these is you're going to take these gold wires and bend them back. See if I can get a better picture. And then you're going to grab your cutters. And you're going to cut them as close as you can to those wraps without cutting your wraps. Just like that. Ta-da. Let's do that on this side. Just pull the gold back. Make sure everything's pushed down. And you got 4 wraps on it, so it shouldn't pull out of there at all. And then the top design is going to wrap over it too, holding it even. Oops, looks like I missed a wire. And grab your flat nose and pinch those little cut ends down flat against the band, and then we'll wrap over those in a second. And just get a clearer look here at the size you like. So, going back to your mandrel, just move this out of the way. And on the size you want. Remember, give a little room because you're. And then when you go to wrap this band on the left side, we're going to go under the one on the right. So, I don't know how to explain that, but don't put this one on top. Make sure that this one on the left's on the bottom. So I'm going to start here, see, and then kind of center it around so your design is centered. And then as you get closer to the size you like, you got your bead, and you're going to measure that and subtract that. You're only going to wrap up to that spot. So it looks like I'm going to need at least, maybe 10 wraps on each side just to come up closer to it. So you're going to leave your band size around your finger minus the width of your bead. So I'm going to wrap up a little more on each side, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'll be right back. Alright, I put 10 on the other side, but I just want to show you where these little cut wires are. We're just going to, wrap right over them so they disappear under there. Plus the design will wrap over the top of that. So there's 1, 2, see, it just hides it. 3. I'm going to add 10 on this side and come right back. Okay, so I did 10 more wraps on each side, so we're going to grab the mandrel. And I'm just going a half a size up than the size I want, just because I know that once I add those inside wraps, it's going to get a little thicker. But we could always test it on our finger later too. This is just a good start. So put it on this half a size larger than you want. That's just a good roll. And see, I still got a little extra room here. I don't think I need this much space. See, because you're going to want to come together right where your little bead. And it better cooperate for the camera. Alright, so you see how the bead is sitting right there? And I'm just shy of a couple wraps on either side. That's the width you're going for. So we just want to wrap up to the bead. I'm thinking I'm going to do maybe three on each side and 3 more wraps on each side. And another way you can feel this too, like if you got the, if this ring is for yourself, you feel like it's pretty loose. You're going to just tighten it up just a little bit. Where it's not super snug, like when you take it off, you got a little resistance. That's a good way to measure your ring too, for the finger you want. I know if you're doing it for somebody else, that could be pretty tricky, but for myself, that works pretty good. So I'm going to add a couple more wraps and I'll come right back. Alright, so I added a couple more wraps to each side. You got your ring like this. This side that's on the bottom that comes out this way. Little beads about perfect. The measurement. And you want to test it on your finger. And it's snug, but it's not too snug. And then you can always double check your mandrel. So I'm going for 6.5, but I'm just staying a half size above that. Just because that feels like the last one I made, that was about right. Was that half a size after I added all the wraps inside. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you take your flat nose and just kind of flatten these two together here. Just so you have a nice flat area to work with. It's a little simpler. And then you're going to work evenly on both sides. So this one's going to go under and you're going to wrap it around both. Nice and snug. Pull these together like that. Push it through. Nice and snug. And do 3 on this side and then 3 on the other, and work towards the center. This one. And even at this point, you can still tighten the ring a little bit if you feel like it's too big. You can just pull these and they'll slide together. You can test it on your finger once you get a couple wraps on there. And through the center, over both. Nice and snug. And test it again. That's a nice fit. Even though it's just a little loose, you could do is you could. Remember, you don't want it too tight. Pull those together just a hair, just to critique your size a little bit. Now keep going, working towards the center. Equal wraps on the same side. Looks like I can get one more in there. So on this last one, you're going to come up and cut it exactly in the middle. Cut one in the middle. And lay it down there. And this one, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to cut it right where that other one meets. And then lay that one down. And then flatten it all together. That way it's no little pieces, and you won't even see this. It'll be under the gemstone. Alright, you can snug it up a bit, push them together. Make sure right where it is, because you know, if you can always undo a couple of those wraps and then critique it. But leave a little room in there for the wraps, you know, like that. And so let's see where that fits on the mandrel. See, that looks like it comes to a 7, but my other ring, that sits way down here. But once you add those extra wraps on the inside, it's, it shrinks it. Okay. So what we're going to do now, see where the gemstone sits. Oh, that's nice. It's on there pretty good. So we're going to take these two inside square wires. Comes out there. We're going to twist them. So you're going to take your flat nose pliers and grab the end of this one and twist it. And if you twist the ring too, I notice it does more of an even pattern. And then twist it nice to the design you like. I'm going to go a little tighter on this one. Kind of like just a tiny looking bead look. I'm going to go do that on this one. That's pretty close. Okay. Okay, so we're going to shape these two wires just to kind of hold these in here. So you're going to put your bead like this. And then this one down here, we're going to come around and go behind this one, and this one's going to go off this way. Now you don't have to keep the bead here. I'm just trying to show you which way it's going to lay over the bead. So a lot of people will kind of shape these wires prior to putting the bead in. But we're kind of going like this. I'm going to go around, shape it around. So it kind of just curves around the bead. And we're going to go under these wires here. And this one the same. Kind of around the end. I'm just getting a start, just a little cradle that little gem. You can pull these ones out a little bit so you can get down in there close as you can. Down in there like that. And on this side, you can move these a little out of the way. And then pull this one down in there. It's okay if the gem turns a little sideways, or if you got a round, that's why a round stone or this one is a 10x8 works fine. Just kind of snug it up in there. And then you see how they're just slightly larger than the ring hole. Cut it just right so you can push it through there easily. Yeah. Same on this side. Just a little smaller than the ring hole, just in case you need the extra wire. So this wire that came down on this side is going to go back through. Oops. That's always good. Because when you push that wire back against itself, it wants to push the bead. So just kind of hold it with your finger and push that line through. So it's coming out through the band. And on this one, same thing. Hold it where you want and then push that one wire through the band. And we'll fix this a little bit as we go. So using your fingers or tools, you can push them around the bead gently. Where you want them. Snug them up if you need to. Just small adjustments at a time. Don't gar your wires or your gem. And then kind of just holding this together, nice and flat. Kind of work this wire, and since it's really stiffened up since you twisted it, so it's doesn't want to move freely. Kind of just go up and over, and we're gonna cut this one so it lays right down on the band in here. So we're gonna cut it like right about there. Ooh, still haven't got new cutters. And you take your flat nose and push it down. Just so it lays on the inside there. You won't see that. And do the same thing on this side. Holding your bead there so it doesn't pull your wires out of the way. Bend it up and over. Snip it off. Not a 1/4 inch maybe a centimeter. Yeah, you don't want it to overlap your band. You want it to hide behind there pretty good, and then smash it pretty flat. So that should pretty much hold your stone there. And this one's a little long. I should cut it and slip it under there. I'll be right back. Okay, so little minor adjustments. I cut that. I always feel like I'm going to cut them too short, and then they're always too long on the sides there by the band. So maybe just a couple millimeters and then bend it over. Just enough to grab it. Okay, so the next one, we're going to take the next inside line, closest to the inside on both. And I'm going to twist those as well. I'm going to do like a little double twist design. So grab your flat nose again and grab the end. A nice twist on it. You could do a lighter twist in the first one or a tighter one. I'll do about the same. And if you take this cute, do that on this side. Ooh, too close. About the same. And on these ones, we're just going to follow that same one. For a nice round curve. And then again, cut it so it'll go through the circle. Around the band on the inside. Over the top. I cut this one closer. Thinking like right there. And press it down as close to the band as you can. Like that. And through this side. And chasing that other wire, nice round bend. Try not to do it flat. Follow this. Yeah, I got like a flat spot right there. Sometimes the wires are just stiff and they don't want to cooperate. I'm just talking into it a little bit. And then keep your wires close together. Notice that it looks nicer when there's no air gaps between them, like too much, so you know. And then trim this one so you can get it through. And then push it through the band. Stay close to your last line there. Up over the back. I'm going to snip this one pretty close. Alright. That one might be a little too long. always do that. Just a nibbing off of there. And kind of bend it down. That was good. I trimmed a little off of that. And then just kind of tuck it up under there. Bring those wires closer together if you like that. I do. I like to keep them as close as I can. Alright, so there's, and that's pretty too. Just like that. Our pattern's nice and centered. It looks good. Once you oxidize it, it really pops. So next we're going to weave these. It only takes maybe 1.5 feet on each side. I just got my little wire here. I put this little, just to hold it in place. I'm going to do this side first. So start on the inside with your weaving wire. We're going to do 5 times around this top inside one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll push that set down. It's pretty close, it's hard to push that down. So then you're going to go behind. I'm going to keep these kind of close together. You can bend these out a little bit if it helps to get around the wire. I'm going to wrap this bottom one 5 times. There's 1, 2, 4, 5. And the nylon pliers work good for this, for sliding this down, keeping it really snug. The closer these wires are, the better it looks in the end. So then you go up over the top. You're not going to count that as a wrap, but then you're going to count this one. So that's 1, 2, 5. And snug it up. And then around the back, down to the bottom one again 5 times. We're gonna do 5 sets of this. So 5 on top, 5 on the bottom to start. Then we'll see if that, I think that'll be plenty for this gemstone. You know, depending if you have a bigger gem, you might need a couple more patterns. But I'm gonna do 5 sets. So this is 2 sets. And I'll be right back. Okay, I got 5 sets. So you want to push it down. You can give it a nice little squeeze. You remove this little tag and we'll twist. And then you're going to kind of just chase this line. So you're going to just kind of bend it over. A nice round. Like that. You might have to add another 5 on there. So it's like 5 sets plus 1, depending on your gemstone. There's 1. It's definitely easier to do before you lay it down on here. Alright. Definitely easier to get it snug, that's for sure. that up a bit. It's not gonna, it's too big to get in there. Right, and then just remove this wire. So I kind of misshape it, but you can go back, shape it a little bit. If you want it to flare out, you can just tip it outward gently, because you know these will scratch the color off of your wire, so you got to be careful. So again, we're just going to trim these wires so they go through the ring. But don't trim up too much, because we're going to do a little design, so just enough to get it through the ring. Could bend it too. But I know I don't need that much, so that seems to work good for me. Go through the back, chase your inside wires. So let's start with this top wire here. Just going to bring it over the top. Keep it as close. I'm going to lift up on it a little bit because we're going to cut it. I'm going to try to cut it at an angle. I want it to almost be as long as the band, but not quite. So I don't want it to stick off the side, but it's pretty close. Just make sure you can't feel it. And then press that down to the band. And then when you grab this one, grab it by the end. And bring it over the top. Like that. And then we're going to grab our needle nose pliers. Grab the end of it and then just curl it in. If you're real fancy, you just file that end down so there's no Sharpies there. It's got a nice clean edge. But the finish is right by the point there. So it looks like that. So let's do this side now. I gotta get some more gold wire together. I'll be right back. Okay, so I cut my 28 gauge, my gold wire. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna start on the inside, and then since we did 5 sets and 1 extra on this side, we're gonna do the exact thing on this side. So I probably won't film this. I'll just do the 5 sets. But you're gonna do 5. Push it down in there as close as you can get. Even let go of this little tie so it doesn't hold it back. Get that down in there as close as you can. And bring these wires together around the back. That's 1, 2, and 5. 5 wraps, and then don't count this one over the top. And then wrap the top 5 times. That's 1. And then after each set, or after each 5, press it down nice and tight so you got the same amount of length, you know, that you did on the first one. Because if they're spaced out, you know, it takes up extra room. So let's do 5 sets and then an extra 1, 5. Be right back. Okay, so I got my 5 sets on there. Let's see if it fits. Just gonna slowly pin. Oh, and I removed the little wire tag there off camera. So let's just bend this, chase it around, get a nice curve. Sometimes it'll flatten and kind of just twist it back up a bit. Unless you want the design kind of pointing down, kind of go, use your thumb to kind of shape it. Make sure your pattern's nice and pushed back. Remove this wire. So to make sure it's long enough. You want your design to end where your band is right there. You know where it meets. It's a good spot. And just kind of trying to shape it a bit. Remember, if you use these, be gentle on your colors so they don't scratch off. Because when you oxidize, if you scratch the colored wire and you go to oxidize, it just turns that part black. So you want the gold to really pop. You want to try to keep it protected as much as possible. So, looks like I didn't have to trim that one a whole lot. Go through the band with, going to start with the top one here. Push that one through the band. Keep it close to the other ones under there. You can always grab these. If your wires are stiff, you can pull them around with these flat nosed. And then we're going to trim that one. Like the other one on the other side, just kind of right where the band ends. Just kind of push it up there a bit and then smash it down. So then this one next, gonna go through the band, long side in there. Ooh, this one's gonna be just enough for a curl on it. It's nothing too, like if you're doing a larger size ring, you might want to start with a little more than 6 inches. You know, if you do enough of them, you know exactly what length wire you need. But this is just a good start. And if you're doing fancier designs on the band, you're going to need a little more. That's why you don't want to gar your wire at all, because you can sand those out too. A little fingernail filer can soften up any scratches. And then press that one down to the band. I'm going to center it a little better. But that one turned out nice too. It ended right where the color is. And then, like I said, you do a couple of these rings and you'll be able to adjust the wraps. But this is finished. And I always just go back and critique. I don't like to see little gaps like that, so I'll just push my design with these soft. It's pretty gentle on the color. But gentle and firm, but don't try to, careful not to scratch it. So we're going to oxidize this and come back and show you the finished look on this one. But it turned out pretty good. I like it. Kind of gives it a little Egyptian flair. Fun for dressing up. Looks cool. I really like it. Be right back. I'm going to oxidize it. Alright, so I oxidized it. Turned out pretty poppin'. Really like it when the gold and the black just really contrast like that. And the pattern turned out super cute. It's popping once you oxidize it. And, if you even just want to skip the whole decorative band part, that'd save you time. But this whole ring only took maybe an hour and a half. And then a little prep time. Probably not even an hour and a half. pretty fun to make. These rings are so addicting to make and easy and quick. And with a little practice, you get addicted to making them, that's for sure. But this looks like it has like an Egyptian lure to it, you know, with the gold and black and the design. Turned out pretty cool. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for the next one. Thanks again. Have a beautiful day.